Pro wrestling is a closely knit business, always has been, and probably always will be. There are certain legendary wrestling families that have given us some of the best wrestlers in the industry. The face of WWE before stepping away to deal with leukemia, Roman Reigns, is also a descendant of the legendary Anoa'i wrestling family, which has close ties to other wrestlers like The Rock and The Usos, just to name a few. Former wrestlers like Ted Dibiase or Curt Hennig helped prop up Vince McMahon's company and turn it into the global behemoth it is today, so obviously, if one of those men came knocking and asked Vince to take a chance on one of their children, McMahon is definitely not going to say no. Pro wrestling is just like any industry. If you have a family member in it, odds are it will be a little easier for you to get a shot. Of course, WWE can be extremely unforgiving, and one mistake can send you spiraling out of the business, but getting that shot in the first place is difficult enough to begin with. Wrestlers like Finn Balor and AJ Styles spent years dominating the indie scene before WWE came calling, and odds are that if their family had a history with the company, they would have joined Vince McMahon a lot sooner. My name is John, and we're going to be checking out 10 wrestlers WWE gave a chance to because of their family ties. Pretty much everyone knew that Ted Dibiase Jr. was the son of the $1 Million Man when he first joined WWE because the company made a big deal about it for the entirety of his tenure. When Legacy split up and Ted Dibiase Jr. embarked on a singles run, he even brought back his father's legendary $1 Million title in a bid to get him over with the universe. Well, it failed. He ended up parting ways with the company when his contract expired on the 1st of September in 2013, stating that he wanted to spend more time with his family. What people often forget is that Dibiase Jr. is a third-generation star, and that his father, the $1 Million Man, was not the first Dibiase to make a name for himself as a pro wrestler. Dibiase was the son of Iron Mike Dibiase, who once wrestled a match for almost 2 hours straight and even participated in a rare boxer versus wrestler bout. Obviously, he isn't a household name in the industry in the absence of a massive company like WWE, but his son is a legend and his grandson did decently for himself in the business as well. The Colon family is the only name that matters in the Puerto Rican professional wrestling industry. The legendary Carlos Colon, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014, was the biggest pro wrestler in Puerto Rico, and no one else even comes remotely close. He was one of the few men to garner mainstream attention and acclaim despite not being of American or Canadian descent. He is the father of Carlito and Primo, who enjoyed considerable success in Vince's company. Known as the Colones, the duo was the first team to ever be called the Unified Tag Team Champions. Carlito and Primo defeated the then WWE Tag Team Champions Curt Hawkins and Zack Ryder before eventually unifying the titles by beating the team of The Miz and John Morrison at WrestleMania 25. Just like pretty much every other tag team, the two eventually went their separate ways. While Carlito found considerable success as a single star, winning the US and Intercontinental title, Primo was relegated to the tag team division, and he is now in a team with his cousin Epico. Curtis Axel debuted in WWE to much fanfare. He was a Paul Heyman guy, which is a position reserved for precious few, and even picked up a couple of wins over Triple H in some of his earliest matches. That was arguably Axel's finest moment as a single star in the company, because it was all downhill from there. Despite winning the Intercontinental title, WWE obviously saw the potential in Axel, seeing him as the son of Mr. Perfect and the grandson of the Axe Larry Hennig, so they repackaged him as Curtis Axel after initially debuting him under the name Michael McGillicuddy as a part of the Nexus. Axel never really ascended to the heights of his ancestors, as he has spent most of his career as a part of random tag teams like Rybaxel or the B-Team. Even if he did achieve tag team championship glory as a part of the B-Team, Axel's run in the company has been a bit of a letdown as a whole. Now at 39 years of age, it is highly unlikely he will do anything substantial in the company, so this can be seen as an opportunity missed, as Axel remains one of the most technically gifted wrestlers in the business. Back in the day when kayfabe came above all else, Guerrero was hated to such a degree in Mexico that he was often a victim of stabbing attempts during the 50s and 60s. Let that sink in for a moment. The man was so good at being a bad guy that people actually tried to kill him. Unfortunately for him, his sons were considerably more popular in the country, but perhaps the most popular was his youngest son, Eddie. One of the most beloved WWE superstars of all time, Eddie Guerrero made a name for himself as a cruiserweight before eventually becoming the first WWE champion of Mexican-American descent. His untimely death shook the industry to its very core, but took away nothing from his legacy as one of the best wrestlers of all time. His nephew Chavo also found considerable success in the WWE and on the independent circuit after requesting his release in 2011. His latest gig finds him appearing on the Netflix show Glow as a pro wrestler. The Apex Predator has wrestling in his blood. It all started with Bob Orton Sr., who made a name for himself in the pro wrestling scene in the 60s and 70s, before his son Cowboy Bob Orton entered the fray and ended up joining the WWE in 1984. The Cowboy's name is forever etched in history for his involvement in the first ever WrestleMania way back in 1985. Randy Orton has built on that legacy laid down by his father and grandfather, a multi-time champion and one of the most decorated superstars in the company's history. He has helped legitimize the Orton name, making it one of the biggest wrestling families in the business. Mike Rotunda was known by a few names during his time with the WWE and WCW. In the 80s and in the 90s, he wrestled for both promotions under the names Mike Rotunda, Irwin R. Shyster, and VK Wall Street. He won a few championships over the course of his career, but arguably the best thing he ever did was give the universe Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. Bray and Bo have had varying degrees of success in WWE. While Bo was one of the best NXT champions and is a former Raw Tag Team champion, Bray is a former WWE champion, in addition to having faced The Undertaker at WrestleMania, which is an achievement in itself. A strong case could be made that WWE has dropped the ball with both Rotunda brothers, but with Bray only 31 years old and Bo 28, there's still plenty of time for the company to fix their characters and let them have memorable careers with the WWE. The Usos are the backbone of WWE's tag team division. While the company is very fond of splitting up teams, they have largely resisted the urge to do so with the Usos because they are just that good. They are a part of the legendary Anoa'i family, which has given the industry legendary wrestlers like Umaga and Yokozuna, not to mention Roman Reigns. They have been the tag team champions on multiple occasions, and were the first team to win both the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles. The twins were trained since childhood by their father Rikishi before joining FCW in 2009. The rest is history. By the time Charlotte Flair hangs up her boots, she will be the most decorated female wrestler in the history of the company. This can be said without a shadow of a doubt because ever since Flair first debuted in NXT, it was plainly obvious that she was meant for big things. The first woman to win the NXT, Raw, and SmackDown women's title, Charlotte has been in the industry since she was a teenager. She appeared alongside her father, the styling and profiling Ric Flair in WCW on multiple occasions before eventually joining WWE in 2012. In just 7 short years, she had proven herself to be a fantastic performer and has had 7 title reigns on the main roster. At just 32 years of age, Charlotte still has a lot left in the tank, so don't be surprised if she is able to exceed her father's 16 title reigns. Cody Rhodes and Goldust are the sons of Hall of Famer Dusty Rhodes, whose Hard Times promo set the bar for what a promo should look like. Goldust has had runs in WCW and TNA under his real name Dustin Rhodes, but he will always be remembered for his bizarre One Goldust character, which debuted in WWE in 1995. Goldust has pretty much held every mid-card title there is to hold in the company, and even if he never ascended to the main event, he still won 20 titles in total. Cody, on the other hand, had a relatively short tenure in WWE, but since his departure he has established himself as one of the hottest commodities on the independent scene. And with his involvement in AEW, he is gearing up to rival with Vince McMahon's behemoth. The only reason Cody never made it to the main event in WWE is because the company was too blind to see how special a talent he was, instead saddling him with the Stardust gimmick. Regardless, even if he didn't make that big of a splash in the WWE, he is making waves in the industry overall, and that must be commended. The The Macho Man Randy Savage is credited with being one of the biggest stars in Vince's company, and his efforts made pro wrestling a mainstream commodity. What a lot of people don't know is that his father Angelo entertained audiences worldwide for almost 40 years. Savage's brother Lanny also made a name for himself in the industry over a course of a 20-year career. But the biggest name to come out of that family is definitely Randy Savage. After a failed baseball career, Randy Poffo adopted the character of the Macho Man and became one of the most successful performers in the industry's history. A two-time WWE and four-time WCW champion, Savage had a historic career, and it all started way back when with his father Angelo. And these were 10 wrestlers WWE gave a chance because of family ties. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later with more videos.